Hi everyone, Janie here, and today I'm going to be showing you a few cards I made using Kendra's Card Challenge number 13 card sketches. And her card sketches are set up to make 15 different cards using 6 pieces of 6 by 6 pattern paper or scrapbook paper, and she includes templates so that you know exactly how to cut the paper. She has little scissors to show you where to make your first cuts, and just everything that you're going to need to make these cards. And she also has it set up so that if you don't want to make 15, there are the measurements on each card so that you know how to do it individually. And today I'm going to be making 9 cards using 4 pieces of scrapbook paper, and obviously I'll have some leftovers, but I've also done a little juggling, so I'm going to try to share my process with you a little bit along the way. But if you're interested in getting all of these pages that just show you everything on how to do this, I can't give that to you, but I will put a link below in the description box to Kendra's video where she will tell you all about her challenge, how to, cut things out, and she will also tell you how to get this entire download, which is just priceless. So I will have all of that below in the description box. And also, for this challenge, she is collaborating with Alicia from Call Me Crafty Owl. And so I'm going to also put a link to her channel below in the description box, because both of these ladies do an amazing job with card sketches. By the way, I wanted to point something out to you, so I'm going to go to the last page here. One of the awesome things that she does is everything, as you saw, is, color coded. And right here, she has all 6 of the papers that you're going to use, gave them each a letter of the alphabet and a color. And as you go down, it will tell you, like, card number 1 is going to use paper A. Card number 2, paper B, and so on. And you can see if it uses 2 papers or 3 papers, you will know which papers that card is going to use, so that if you need to, you can match up those patterns or colors to go really good together for those cards. So this is just amazing. The way that she does this, it takes a lot of work, And so that's why, another reason I'm not giving this to you, because it's not mine to give. You really need to visit Kendra's channel and her video and let her tell you all about it and how to get this. So for my cards, I used Cowgirl Up from Not Too Shabby, and the coordinating ephemera and enamel dots. And the 4 pieces of paper I chose to use are these right here. And they're also double-sided, so if I, needed to turn one over and use a different pattern, I can do that, and that is the fun part about using double-sided paper. So, let me show you what I did. Okay, so I've got all of my pieces cut out, and it's best if you put them into numbered envelopes or pouches, and I don't have any of that right now, so I just made these little pockets out of printer paper and I numbered them and put everything in according to which card sketch it was. And I actually have enough scraps left over to do 2 more cards if I want to, which would be 11 cards out of 4 sheets of 6 by 6 scrapbook paper. But I've got it all ready to go, and I'm going to go put my cards together and I'll be back. For card number 1, I used my paper saving technique of cutting the center out of the bottom layer, since no one's going to see that. And then I cut the 4 strips that I'm going to need for this card from the piece that I cut out. And that leftover piece that you see there, I'll be using that on card number 3. And here is card number 1 finished. And I added that sweet horse to it. I thought that was just so perfect. And I used adhesive foam tape to pop that up, and you'll see that I did that on almost all of the cards, and I just love how this turned out. For card number 2, I also used my favorite paper saving technique and used the piece I cut out as one of the layers on top of the card. And here's card number 2 finished. And for the textured panel, I embossed the white piece of cardstock there. And again, like I said, I pretty much have used foam tape to pop all of the images up. And I also added these beautiful enamel dots, and they have some sparkle to them, so really pretty. And again, I love how this one turned out as well. Okay, I thought I would show you card number 3 before I finish putting it together, because I didn't do it exactly the way the sketch was. I took a little creative liberty here, and I wanted to show you a couple of, tips and tricks. So, first of all, it did not call for pattern paper. And I had this piece left over that I could have made another card with, but instead I cut it in half and put a strip across the bottom and a strip across the top to add, some pretty flowers to it. I just thought it needed that. And then it also asked for these 2 pieces right here to be layered on top of some cardstock. And I happened to have that piece left over from card number 1 that I'd cut out of the center, and it was the right size for me to put these 2 pieces on. So what I did was I just cut it in half and stuck them on there just like that, because no one's going to see that. No one's going to see this white in the middle or anything, because then we have this piece that goes on. Now, this piece was supposed to be 4 by 4, but I didn't want it that big, so I made mine 3.5 inches by 3.5 inches, and I embossed it. And according to the sketch, it looks like it was supposed to be maybe a white piece of cardstock that you can create a scene on it, with stamping and stuff, or, big sentiments, however you want to do it. But that's not what I had in mind. So I made some changes, and I have this piece of 2.5 by 2.5 inch cardstock that is going to go in the center like that. And then I'm going to add something to that, and you'll see here in a second. And here's card number 3 finished, and you've already seen the changes and things that I've done to it, and I think it came out real pretty. And as you know, these cards can go either direction, so horizontal or vertical, and I had wanted to do this vertical, but forgot what I was doing until after I'd already glued the image on, so I'll probably make another one, but I still think this is really pretty. And here's card number 4, and I pretty much kept it true to the sketch. But I did pop up this, the top square with, foam tape, and because I had already popped that up, I didn't pop up the images. But I think that that's really pretty, and I added some enamel dots right here. And in person, they're actually pretty peachy, just like the cardstock I used for the layering there, but really pretty. For cards number 5 and 6, I used an inlay technique, and this was easy to do since both cards are identical. I cut the center out of each one and then swapped those pieces and inlaid them into the frame that creates the bottom layer. If I would have just layered the cardstock instead of doing that, I would have had to use twice as much cardstock. So this was a real money saver. And I love this card sketch because it can easily be used vertically or horizontally, or one of each. And here we have cards number 5 and number 6. And I love how these turned out. These may be one of my favorites, and I just think that they are so pretty. And I didn't add the circles that it shows on here. I just added the images. So I think they came out perfect. And this is card number 7, but it's actually card sketch number 9. And I made a few changes on this one. So these were leftover pieces that I used to make this, so they weren't cut out specifically for this card. But this piece right here was supposed to have all of these little strips of paper on it, and that was just a little too fiddly for me, so I just added another strip. And then for the this section right here, I actually had an embossing folder that had a paisley design on it and went right along with the paisley design in that. So I really love how that came together. And then of course I added the boots with the flowers, even though there's nothing showing right here, but that's what I wanted to do, and I think that this was just a really fun card. For sketch number 13, I needed a circle for the front of the card, so I die cut that from the bottom layer because, as I've said before, it's not going to show, and I used that circle to create a flap instead of just gluing it flat. And I wanted you to see that I folded the edge of the flap around and glued it to the back layer before adhering it to my card. And this is card number 8, which is actually sketch number 13, and I pretty much stayed true to the sketch. So as you can see, I embossed the back layer, and I actually offset this one a little bit so it's not centered, but I did something different. So instead of just a half circle or circle glued down right here, this is a flap. And I actually got this idea from Paper Crafting with Rebecca on YouTube. I believe she's one of Kendra's design team members, and I will put a link below to Rebecca's channel so you can see this. I'll actually put a link to this video, but I thought that was such a great idea, and I haven't put it in here yet, but I'm going to bring it over here for you. I have this piece already cut out, and I'm going to put a sentiment on there, and something got on there and I have no idea what that is. And at first I thought, well, no big deal, it matches the same color, so it'll be fine. But then I decided I might put one of these hearts over that because that could be cute. So when I put the sentiment on, if there's space, I'm going to put the little heart right there. But I just thought that was so cute, you know, putting a flap there. And so there we go. And as all the others, this is foam taped up to, you know, pop it up. And I really love this card a lot. And here's card number 9, which is sketch number 14. And I didn't want to leave it with just solid cardstock, so I did put it through an embossing folder. Oh, it's not showing up really good on there, but it's a basket weave, and I thought that was perfect with a little basket on here. And I didn't have a scalloped circle. I do, but it's packed away somewhere with everything else I own. So I just cut out a stitched circle because I happen to have that and put the basket of flowers on top. And I thought that it was really pretty. And last but not least is card number 10, which is sketch number 15. And it is not exact. So for example, I embossed the background layer, and because of that I didn't put the strips across that are on here because I just thought they'd have a hard time, you know, skinny little strips sticking to the raised areas from the embossing. And then the center right here probably should have been, you know, maybe something that I could have stamped an image on, but I just thought this was really beautiful, and I, you know, didn't want to put anything on it. I could have put, you know, a basket of flowers or cowboy boots or whatever, but I've decided to leave this one just the way it is. So, out of 4 pieces of 6x6 scrapbook paper, I got 10 beautiful cards, and I have leftovers enough that I can make another card. So I'd like to point out a couple of things. 4 sheets of 6x6 scrapbook paper is equivalent to 1 sheet of 12x12 scrapbook paper. So you can actually look at this as a one-sheet wonder. And another thing I wanted to point out is that I got 10 cards out of this. But if I had used the leftover scraps differently, I could have got 12 cards out of those 4 sheets, and all of them would have been from the set of card sketches. I hope you check out Kendra's Card Sketch Challenge, and I'll have a link to her Facebook group where you can find that, and I will also have a link to Cards by Kendra, which is her YouTube channel, and a link to Paper Crafting with Rebecca, who inspired me with her version of Card Sketch number 13. And I'll also have a link to Call Me Crafty Al's YouTube channel because she is collaborating with Kendra for Kendra's Card Challenge 13. And of course, I'm going to have links below in the description box to the products that I used today from Not Too Shabby. And by the way, that's all I used today were products from Not Too Shabby. So thank you all so much for letting me share my cards with you, as well as a few tips and tricks along the way. Oh, and by the way, yes, those are my boots in those pictures. Happy crafting, everyone. Bye-bye.